As crazy as Week 12 was, we really didn't see that many eliminations. The only Power 5 team, or Power 4 team, was Louisville, Memphis Group of 5 team that got eliminated. So let's just jump right in and take a look at the updated playoff picture. We've added in a little something this week. You'll see in just a second. But previously eliminated, you see all the teams here, and then all the Group of 5 teams that we don't talk about in the video. I didn't feel like making a list of all of those, but we will talk about the ones that are still alive. So new eliminations this week. Power 4 teams, just Louisville. That was it. They now have 3 losses in the ACC. There's no path for them to get to the ACC championship. Obviously, a 9-3 ACC team is not going to be in the college football playoff as an at-large. So they are eliminated, which is crazy. Just a few weeks ago, remember they beat Miami and felt like they were maybe the front runners in the ACC, and now things have changed a lot in that conference with Louisville and Miami both dropping out of the top spot. So now we look at the teams that we're just going to go through the playoff picture here. The teams that must win their conference: Arizona State, Cincinnati, Duke, Georgia Tech, Houston, Pitt, SMU, and Virginia. So like Cincinnati, they lost, but didn't really change anything because, it changes their path to get to the Big 12 championship. It's going to be tougher. They're going to have to count on a tiebreaker to get there, and I have no idea what's going to happen if we do wind up with a tiebreaker in the Big 12. But they still got to win the Big 12 conference. Arizona State still has to win their conference. Like all these teams here in the ACC and the Big 12, they must win their conference to get into the college football playoff. So it's pretty clear. You win, you're in. I don't know about Duke. This team now has 5 losses. If they sneak into the ACC championship and they win it, does a 5-loss team get in? I would say no, but the American teams just keep beating up on each other. What if we have a 3-loss champion out of the American? I don't know what happens. It's interesting. So I'm not going to eliminate Duke just yet, but they're probably eliminated. The teams that can still get in as an at-large team: Alabama, BYU, Georgia, Indiana, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Oregon, Texas A&M, Texas, Texas Tech, USC, Utah, and Vanderbilt. Some of these teams will need some help. Some of these teams will be in if they win out, and that's actually what we're going to do new for these last couple of weeks. We're going to look at the teams that still control their own destiny to get to the college football playoff, which means if they win out, they will be in. And then we will also look at the teams that still need help to get in. All right, so still alive for an at-large spot. You see these teams. Now we go to the teams that are already in. Indiana, Ohio State, Texas A&M. There is nothing that can happen that could eliminate any of these 3 teams. They lose the rest of their games, they're going to be in. Indiana only has 1 regular season game remaining. I suppose if they lost to Purdue and then they got blown out in the Big Ten championship, I still think they're in. They should be. Ohio State obviously is going to be in regardless of what happens in their final game against Michigan. They're still going to be in the college football playoff. And then Texas A&M, they lose to Texas, they're still going to be in. Now, I guess Ohio State, I said already in. If they lost to Rutgers and then they lost to Michigan, they're not going to go to the Big Ten championship, so they're not going to have 3 losses. I still think they're probably in, but with this committee using the recency bias, maybe Ohio State does drop. I don't know, but let's just be honest here. Ohio State's not going to lose to Rutgers. That's just not going to happen. That would be one of the biggest upsets, I think, in the history of college football. So they're going to win that game, and then if they lose to Michigan, they're still going to be in. So I'm going to go ahead and say these teams are in. Again, something crazy could happen, I guess, but it's not. It's just not realistic. All right, the teams that are in control of their destiny: Alabama, BYU, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Oregon, and Texas Tech. So if these teams win out, they will be in. It's as simple as that. But here is the interesting thing. These 8 teams, there is no scenario where all 8 of these teams will be in the college football playoff. At least one of these teams will not make it, because you've got the 3 teams I just showed you. Then you've got these 8 teams. That's 11. And you still got to put in the ACC champ and the Group of 5 champ. That means there's not going to be room for all these teams. But if they win out, they'll be in. They're not all going to win out. That's not possible because BYU and Texas Tech, they'll have to play each other. Now, other than that, I don't think we have any other games where any of these teams play each other. We'll have the SEC championship where we'll see probably, I would assume, well, could be Texas A&M. Texas A&M and one of these teams. So, yeah, it seems like if everybody wins out, if there are no big upsets or anything, it seems like the team that's going to get left out is probably going to be BYU, because they would then lose to Texas Tech. What happens if BYU wins that game? Who gets left out? Texas Tech? Maybe they're the ones that get left out. I mean, I can't see any scenario where if Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Oregon, if they win out, there's just no way they don't get in. So I do think these teams are in control. If they all win, then I think the loser of BYU, Texas Tech, misses out on the college football playoff. I don't see any other way they could do this. I mean, if Texas Tech loses that game, are they going to stay above a 10-2 Alabama, or perhaps what if Alabama, if they went out, they probably win the SEC championship? So again, it's just it's very interesting to see these eight teams that control their own destiny, but they can't all get in. So someone is going to, something's going to happen to where one of these teams does not get in. Now, how about the teams that need help? You got a bunch of teams: Arizona State, Cincinnati, Duke, Georgia Tech, Houston, Michigan, Pittsburgh, SMU, Texas, USC, Utah, Vanderbilt, and Virginia. Some need more than others. Obviously, you look at the ACC teams, you feel like if they went out, they're probably, Pittsburgh, SMU, Georgia Tech. If they win out, Virginia, then they will probably get in, but it'll depend on tiebreakers. So they are not in control. They will have to have some help from tiebreakers to get into the ACC championship, and then they have to win it. So everyone needs some help here. These teams in the Big 12 with 2 losses, they need help. They need a loss from BYU or Texas Tech. Probably not going to happen, but they need to, and then they're going to need tiebreakers help as well. So you're definitely going to need some help if you're in the Big 12 or the ACC. I don't know if any team in the ACC is like fully in control of the tiebreaker. If there is, then maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe Georgia Tech, if they win out, they're guaranteed to win the tiebreaker. Like, I don't know. I don't think we can necessarily say that because we don't know who all is going to be tied. We don't know how the rest of these games are going to go. But you feel pretty good if you win your final games. If you're in the ACC, Georgia Tech plays Pitt, so that's going to knock one of those teams out. And again, it'll be a very interesting tiebreaker scenario in the ACC. And then you've got a few other teams here. Michigan, I think they probably get in if they beat Ohio State, but there's no guarantee. I showed you those teams that are in control of their own destiny. If they all win, then I don't think Michigan passes any of those teams. Vanderbilt's going to need some help. Utah will need some help to win the Big 12 or get in as an at-large potentially, which I think that's kind of slipping away from them a little bit in terms of getting in as an at-large. Then you got USC kind of in the same boat as Michigan. If they win out, they probably climb up, which they probably will be in because they will knock off Oregon, so they're probably going to move ahead of them. So USC is actually in a much better spot than Michigan. Michigan's not going to climb all the way ahead of Ohio State. And then you've got Texas with 3 losses. If they beat Texas A&M, that's going to be a huge win to close out the season. And if there is chaos, and it's going to take a lot, but I think there is a scenario where Texas could possibly sneak in with 3 losses. Very, very unlikely, but not impossible. Now we go to the group of 5 teams that are still alive. We still got a cluster of teams in the American: East Carolina Navy, North Texas, Tulane, USF. All these teams have 1 or 2 losses, so that's going to be another fun tiebreaker scenario. And then James Madison, if they win out, they're going to have a real shot. And San Diego State with 2 losses in the Mountain West, I think you can't count them out either. So these are your teams out of the group of 5 that still have a chance. I have no idea who it's going to be, and I'm really curious to see if any of these teams get ranked this week when the new rankings come out tonight. So that's the updated playoff picture. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below.